Live from Chattanooga, Tennessee, it's Nooganomics with David Tulis.
If you want a great lunch this morning or late this morning, early this afternoon, make sure you go to Armando's in Hickson. Armando's, run by Anthony Johnson, offers just terrific burgers and fries. His little restaurant is often overlooked because it's not hugely marked, but it is at the Chester Frost Park entrance on Hickson Pike, right near the new Thrasher Light that's going in. He's got hamburgers, cheeseburgers. He's got shakes, catfish, BLTs, pecan pie, steaming hot coffee, and many other good and right things. That's Armando's in Hickson. Armando's. Remember, here at our station, we argue for local economy. We say favor the local over the national, favor the homegrown over the globalist, and so you're going to end up eating at places like Armando's, or even up in Saudi Daisy like Wimpy's. This is David Tulis, and we are at AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. We say love your neighbor, buy local, and it works out in the details like this: near is better than far, and small is better than big, and simple than complex, and personal beats corporate almost all the time, and then physical beats abstract. And I've been thinking about Bitcoin and dollars the past couple of days, and I don't know that I can get to a discussion I hope to have with you, my listener, about the physical versus abstract thing, because after all, theology is abstract, right? And theology is complex, and yet with the right thinking about God, which is what theology is, it's a study of God, you're going to have a better understanding of the world around you, and you'll be able to conduct yourself more fruitfully and more to your advantage. And I would suggest, hopefully, for God's glory. That is the end of man. Man's chief end is to glorify God and to enjoy Him forever, if you believe the Westminster Catechism of Faith. I've got here in the studio a man looking for work. And so what I'd like to do now is to have with you, my listener, a job interview for you. And I'd like you to find out more about Harvey Young. He's 34 years old. He arrived here August the 11th. He's from West Point, Mississippi. And we'll hear a little bit about his dad, who worked before him at the Bryan hot dog plant in West Point. His dad, Harvey Holliday, worked there for 30 years, died 11 years ago. And Harvey is a kind of mechanic. He is a man who fixes things. We're going to ask him about conveyor belts and things like that. And he's here in Chattanooga, just arrived looking for work. He's put out job applications here and there. And we'll hear a little bit about him. Harvey, welcome to the show.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Well, tell me a little bit about what brought you to Chattanooga from West Point, Mississippi. Just tired of West Point? What brought you here and not, say, Nashville or Knoxville?
Well, actually, I had a relative here, and I just wanted to just leave, and just come and visit my relative. And when I got here, and I just decided to be able to join with them, and one thing led to another one, and I decided, to stay here. I like this place a little better than Mississippi.
So you have, well, I'm sure Mississippi has many, many virtues to it that Tennessee doesn't have, but you're here, and you are looking for work. What kind of job? How is it that you're searching for a job, Harvey Young?
Well, I've been applying online and also walking in to a different temp service, and hopefully that one day I get my call, and be able to be called for a job,
Well, tell us about what you've done, mostly done in the past, in your past employment. You were involved in industrial maintenance for 6 years at Bryant, or is it Bryan or Bryant?
Bryan.
Okay, no T. At Bryan hot dog factory. What did you do there? Tell us about your work there.
Well, dealing with Bryan, dealing in the maintenance field, it's just anything that pretty much that's been broke down, we had to come in and just fix it, from all different type of machine, because there are many different machines that located up in the plant.
Well, tell us about how the plant works and where you stepped in to help.
Well, it's a processing plant. You start from processing, from the beginning of dealing with hogs. And so when they first come in, so like I said, it's a process, and you work your way on down to it, being up in once you get through processing everything, you cut the meat and everything, and you end up packing it, and becoming, the last results of it. So,
well, what are some of the machines that are used in that somewhat gruesome process, Harvey Young?
Well, they got all kind of different type of machines that's up in there. You got a thing called kill machine. That's one thing, dealing with the process, and you also have like a picking area, and it's just different type of areas depending on what department you're working in.
Well, what kind of machines are used in the picking area? Well, how do they break down?
Well, they'll break down like if they get clogged with meat or something like that, and then that's when we as maintenance have to go in and either replace a part up on it or something to that nature.
And you mentioned, what about hydraulic systems and electrical systems? Is that something that in your work history, Harvey Young, you've dealt with?
Yes, sir. We play a part of that also. Most time, hydraulic, when you're dealing with hydraulics, sometimes hoses, have a leak, and sometimes you have to go in and pretty much, replace the hoses that's once they have a leak. So this plays a major factor also.
What about if the factory building has a leak let's say over the office's area? What do you work on that too?
Well, at times we'll temporarily repair it until they call someone in from a different company to come on in and actually permanently fix it.
Now, you worked also, Harvey Young, a job applicant here in Chattanooga, newly arrived from Mississippi. You also worked at Amory, in a town called Amory, and you worked for United Furniture. What did you do for 3 years on and off at United Furniture?
Well, sir, United Furniture, it was a great place to work. We built furniture from scratch, from the framing department, and worked our way to upholstery and packing and shipping out. It was a process.
So you worked in all of those departments?
Yes, I did.
Wow. And now, if my listener's going to have to bail out on us in just a minute here, can you give him your number and give it to us twice?
Okay. Well, my name is Harvey Young, and my number is 423-903-7298. Again, my name is Harvey Young. My phone number is 423-903-7298.
Tell us about your family and your dad, Harvey. He worked at the hot dog plant, at the packing plant in West Point, Mississippi for 30 years. What kind of man was he?
Oh, he was a strong guy, very strong guy. And he worked there, and he was like a motivator to me to be able to come in and do what I have to do, inside the plant. And he's basically opened the doors up for me, when I first entered into the plant, and I thank him so much for doing such.
Now you have sisters and brothers?
Well, I am the second child. My mom have 7 boys and no girls, so I'm next to the oldest, and 5 under me and 1 older than me.
Now, while you're here, you've arrived here August 11th, and you're living for now with your cousin on your dad's side, Veronica. And she lives on just off of Highway 58. She works in the sheriff's office in administration. What Harvey Young would you say would recommend you to my listener? Why should my listener give a second thought about you, just the man passing on the street, but with this the special a need, you have a need for work, but you're not coming begging for work. You're coming offering skills and character. What are the things that you're offering to my listener who is in a position to possibly hire you or people like you?
Well, I really enjoy meeting and working with a lot of different people, and I'm known for being a great listener and a clear communicator. Whether I'm engaging with colleges or employees, I'm a kind of person who know how to execute difficult tasks, with precision, and I also pay attention to details of a project. And I make sure that every task is just right, but it's also completed in a timely manner. And I'm a creative thinker. I like to explore alternative solutions to problems and have an open mind about what will work best. My creativity has made me an effective team leader because I am anticipating problems and innovative solutions.
Well, that's what the team leader has to do. He has to see things kind of brewing on the horizon, and then he's going to make resources and people and maybe equipment and spare parts all line up to make the operation go smoothly, because you can't afford downtime if you're working with someone in a factory, can you?
That's right. That's correct.
Well, so your mom is still your mom survives your dad, who died in 2004, and say something about her, a mother of 7 sons. That she must be a woman of great conviction and hope to have 7 children, because people nowadays don't have any hope anymore. They seem to have very few children.
Yeah, she's a strong lady. She's very spiritually equipped, and she's a very strong lady to raise 7 boys. And it may have been a difficult time, but one thing I can say, she stood strong and still standing to this day.
And does she live in West Point, Mississippi?
Yes, sir. She's still there.
Former hometown.
She's still there in West Point, Mississippi, right about now.
You're not homesick, are you?
No, sir.
No. Okay. You have things ahead of you. So now you've tell me just a little bit about some of the kinds of work you've applied for. You can do many things as a kind of mechanic and fixer. What kind of jobs have you proposed trying to fill?
Well, I just put an application for his truck driving. That's one of them I know that I had put in right off the bat. And Wrigley's around here, and other different kind of plants, that I apply for around here. And hopefully one day I get a call from some plant or someone somewhere somehow.
Now, again, your name is Harvey Young. You are here in Chattanooga, newly arrived. Looking for work. And how would you evaluate overall Chattanooga? What are some things that you've noticed about maybe the people? Have you had good or maybe not so good experiences with people here in the past few days as a new arrival?
Well, by me being a new arrival here, around here in this town, it's very exciting to me because it's a much bigger place than where I came from, and the people's here. I like being, into what's the word for it? I like meeting the people around here because there's some good, nice people around here, and I enjoy really being around here in Chattanooga.
Well, Harvey, thanks for joining us. Give my listener again your number. You don't have to worry about the 423. It's a local number, right?
Right.
What's your number?
My number is 903-7298. Again, my name is Harvey Young. My number again is 903-7298.
Well, thank you again for joining my listener and me here at AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. Harvey Young is 34 years old. He's new in town, looking for work. Very sharp dresser, and he has his white suit on, and a very nice shirt, and a kind of a necklace around his under his Adam's apple. My name is David Tulis. We are here at AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio, and I think I believe in God's providence. Things don't happen by mistake. And it's interesting how we meet people, and I always think there's a benefit in exploring someone. He and I were sitting, we had just ordered hamburgers at the same time yesterday. I was having to eat out because I went to a deacon's meeting and couldn't go home. And here across the way from me, a couple tables down, was this gentleman. So I opened a conversation, invited him to sit over at my table as I gulped down a burger before the meeting, and tried to take a swig or two of coffee. And we both said the burgers were delicious. Chain store burgers. Yes, they were very good. And he was telling me a little bit about himself. And so I said, well, how can I be useful to this man who's new in town and in a way forlorn? He doesn't have a lot of connections. And here he does, though, have the benefit of living with a cousin.